Session, 6 o'clock. Appreciate everyone being here. Everyone had time to look at the agenda? Yes. Any changes, comments?
We want to add that.
Well, but anything that we're going to be talking is just for you. We'll just add, Lamar's got something he wants to talk about at the end. We'll let him speak there at the end. Previous meetings minutes. Everyone had time to look at that. Any changes or comments on that? Done. Personnel status, number 3. Move down. That. Not been any changes directly. We might have had some in the jail there, possibly, but Stacy's had some part-time we brought on down there, but I think we talked about that last month. So, about that. All right.
Yep.
Board appointments, proclamations. This is on the appointment to the Northwest Georgia Regional Commission. We've got 3 people that have showed interest in that. We're actually talking to those people. So we really don't have anybody this week, which, is no hurry because we do not meet in June or July, so we need to do it in our August meeting, so hopefully we'll have someone narrowed down by then on that particular board. B, the appointment of a member of the Industrial Development Authority to replace Evan Stone. We've had one person step forward, Adam Austin with the phone company. He'd be a good one, and what about that? Heartline, Mr. Heartline, you got anything on that?
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
I think he'd be great.
Okay. Y'all know him, don't you? He's okay.
Cell phone CEO.
Yeah. It'd be a plus because he's involved with, especially on the fiber and all that stuff. He can keep them updated on it. So I feel good about that. Okay. Put that on the consent agenda. The approval of SPLOST capital equipment number 5. Fire Chief Association request for multiple gas detectors for the New Salem, Trenton, New Home, and Davis Volunteer Fire Departments. That's on 5A. Do we got anybody here tonight? Roddy, you want to come up? Okay.
What we're looking at on those is the multi-gas detectors, and we have plenty of needs for them because when we go out on these fires, we don't really know what we're walking into. Rather than get somebody hurt, we can use these. And the only reason 4 departments are doing it is some are out of splash money and some already have some. And we went with this 10-8 company because they were the cheapest, same gas detector, and we went apples to apples. And we'll be able to get them calibrated by a place in Chattanooga. So
The gas that you're trying to detect, is it, explain to them what that is?
it's multi-gas,
Yeah.
different ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not just one. We can go walk up with handheld.
It does, it does more than.
Carbon dioxide, natural gas.
Yep.
It's 4 gases, I think, total and all.
Yeah.
And it has a 4-year warranty on it, so that's a good thing.
Okay.
It's 2 detectors for
Department.
4 departments.
Right.
So it'd be New Salem, Trenton, New Home, and Davis.
Right. Like I say, South Dade's already got some and Westboro's got some, so
Does it cost to get them recalibrated?
it'll cost a little bit, but
Yeah.
you gotta have that done anyway.
How often do you have to do that?
I think these will have to be probably every 2 years, I think is what it is.
That's not bad.
So it's not,
Yeah.
The low bid is,
it is 10-8.
okay.
You say you do get it, the calibration in Chattanooga.
Yeah, we get it at,
We
in
now
fact,
be shipped back to Florida.
one of the people that bid on the Tennessee fire, they agreed, to, even if we didn't buy from them, because they know how competitive this is, that they would do the service on them for us, calibration and everything.
Okay. Any more
So who do you
questions?
suggest, who are you requesting?
10-8.
10-8, okay, I'm just
Yeah,
making sure.
10-8's the low bid,
Talking about the other-
6,303.68.
That out of the old splash.
Yes.
Yeah, that's out of the old splash.
Any more questions? All right, put that on the consent agenda.
Thank you, Roger.
Thank you, Rodney.
Okay, thank you, Rodney. Okay, 5B, this is our Dade County Sheriff's Office, 3 pursuit vehicles that we've agreed over in the past years to buy. If we order them, Don, what are they, about a year out? That's what I thought.
We ordered them last June 21, and we just got them
Yep,
in June 22.
yep. That's unbelievable.
So that's why we're ordering again, so we get in line.
Yep.
Yeah.
Any questions on that?
There's multiple ones, right, different, but we're getting the ones that we already,
Yeah, he prefers the Ford.
yeah, so, and that's
Right,
what
and
we
it is
already.
the lesser of the
Yes,
two.
okay,
Right.
I just wanted to
Where are those
clarify.
coming from?
Prater.
Prater got
Okay,
it.
I just didn't see it in, maybe
So we're looking at the 38,757
but I knew they usually do the best.
per unit.
38, 57, 34.
I think so, yeah.
It's a couple of thousand cheaper than the Tahoes anyway, the big.
Right.
And when those new ones, just the ones that just came in, do we then have to put lighting packages on, or are they included?
Depends. Sometimes they're able to take it off the old ones and use them. It just depends on the, I mean, it just depends on if they can take it off the old
I
and put it
feel
on the new,
like
but
they
they
said that
try,
it was kind of,
they try to do that, but they can't always do that, so.
If they do, they gotta come back and ask for enough to do the bars. and-
They do, and I mean, typically, we're looking at right around 50,000 per vehicle. That's what we budget for them anyway,
Right.
so. I mean, when you figure in, lighting, the, what is it, pursuit package they put on there? The, striping and the
Everything ready
words
to go,
and,
ready
yeah,
to get in
whatever
and
they
crank
call
phone
that.
down, yeah.
right.
And it usually, what always comes in under that.
It
It's
does,
just a rounded number.
When we order them, will we have to pay for them up front or when they come in?
when they come in.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Any questions, Robert? You got any more comments? Okay, put that on consent agenda. That's 5B. All right, number 6, this is approval of ARP expenditures. 6A is the imaging and indexing of documents, deed records, and grantor and grantee index books, Superior Court Clerk's office. I see Kathy's here tonight. You want to come up, Kathy, and talk to us there about that? I know we tabled it last.
I'm just going to
last
go ahead and
week.
stand since I think it's going to be easier for me. Thank y'all for letting me come before you tonight on this. And this is called, I'm asking, or actually requesting funds from the ARPA funds. And this is for imaging and indexing our old documents that they're not already imaged. And I'm just going to give a little bit of background. As the official record keeper and custodian of court, county land, and property records, it is my job to ensure the clerk's office is not only properly maintaining records, but making them easily accessible to the public, and to ensure documents are being backed up to a system where they could easily be recovered in response to a natural disaster. Now, our office over the years since I've become clerk, we have already imaged and preserved a significant number of documents, but we have more to complete. We have gone as far as we can go because we don't have a big enough scanner. So we did everything that we could do. This is an opportunity to complete a large portion of our project using the ARPA funds rather than property tax dollars. The documents that are not imaged are physically located in the clerk's vault at the courthouse, and this requires individuals to appear in the office to obtain a physical copy. Citizens, businesses, and searchers are consistently looking for ways to conduct business remotely, and all documents imaged by CoFile will be accessible online to the user, and they're available 24/7, 365. So this will really be an awesome project to do. And I just had a kind of little thing here about some things that have happened, disasters that have happened to other courthouses. In August 2014, Hancock County, the historic courthouse burned, and it was virtually a total loss. Majority of their records were destroyed. They were not imaged, or they were not backed up or anything. So they did lose a lot of their records. In September of 2019, in Chattooga County, they had a pipe burst in the deed room of the clerk's office, and the records were water damaged. So that took a lot of money to get those restored. And of course, in 2011, it happened here, and it could have happened at our courthouse. So we were thankful that it didn't. In Bryan County, 2022, a tornado hit Bryan County Courthouse, and a lot of the records were destroyed there also. So part one of this real estate, I'm saying part one because there'll be more to do later, but this is part one of what we're starting with. Part one, we're asking for imaging of deed records C through T. That's our oldest deed records that have not been imaged. And it goes back from 1849 through 1919. So it covers those years. And it's the imaging of the grantor and the grantee index books, and the years are 1849 to 1997. And the imaging cost is $50,750 to do those. And this project can only be completed by a vendor with a state certified system and state certified indexers by the Georgia Superior Court Clerks Authority. And this also will have every deed book image available online for searching and retrieval, and this will increase the monthly copy revenue. I did 3 years back, and only 3 years. I think a lot of people do not realize how much copy money we get, and most of it is from people searching online. Your title searchers, your attorneys, citizens. In 2020, we received $9,348 in copy money. That's a lot of money. In 2021, we received $19,113 just in copy money. Now, this is strictly from the internet. This is not from people coming in the office.
Because it does cost for them to go on and research, right? I mean, like if we
Right, well,
wanted to go on,
when
you
they
have to
print
pay.
off,
Yeah.
when they can print off their copies, but they still have to pay because the Georgia Code section says
Yeah.
that we have to charge 50 cents per copy.
What about just to go on and look, though?
Go on and look, if it's through the Georgia Clerks Authority, I believe it's $11.95 a
So
month.
they do have to pay, yeah, to do, yeah.
Right, and then through co-file,
Yeah.
I'm not sure, they have different amounts, like if you want a 1 day, just somebody wants to go in 1 day.
Research, yeah.
And research, yeah. 2022, we collected $7,026 copy money, plus we received $13,566 for indexed images for 1988 and 1989. So just by getting those 2 years indexed, the Clerks Authority sent us a check for $13,566. That's a lot of money, I think. For a small county like us, that's a lot of money. So the business need, that would provide 50-year plus title search online through the Georgia Superior Court Clerks Authority. Plus you would have those old index books. It's like you could go in, we will have a link, and I will explain all of that later after the project gets completed. Then we will have a link. You can go in. You can actually see, just like looking at the index book, that old book. You can search, get your booking page, then go to the Clerks Authority site and put that booking page in and print your image. So it's really going to be a nice program. Right now, there are 17 counties that have used the ARPA funds to do a project such as this. And they actually did a lot more than what I'm asking. I'm just starting out with wanting to get what we don't have imaged so that it will be backed up. And it will be backed up in 3 different places. In case of a disaster, we can recover it just like that. So that's what I'm asking. I don't know if Robin could say something at this point as being a title, not as a county attorney, but he does go in and search. I don't know if I'm putting you on the spot right now, Robin, or not.
No, so doing title searches, so forth, it would make it much easier to do that if you could do that online rather than going to the deed room. I'd also say that I know that all offices within the courthouse, both Kathy's office as well as the probate court, are concerned about COVID, and they've put up various partitions and so forth to try to protect employees from the constant stream of people coming in. And that's always been an issue of how you can't really do that in the deed room. So that's always been kind of a problem. But the biggest issue for me has always been protecting county records, particularly property records, going forward in the future so they can't be destroyed. And I was always really worried about that in the old courthouse. I was kind of holding my breath on that one, and we dodged a bullet there. Less so down there, but it can still happen down in the new one as well.
Well, I'm sure they get wore out too after use.
They do, especially these oldest ones. And these old ones that I'm talking about, the books C through T, these are handwritten. They're not photocopied and put in a book. These are handwritten that's what they did back in the 1800s.
Right.
They are handwritten and they're very much worth preserving. I mean,
Any individual can go in and look at their property records too. So if somebody took out you see all these I could call and talk to you about it one time about you see all the commercials about the home title scams
right, we've had a
going
lot of
on.
calls on
So
that.
if you're wondering if there's something going on, could you go onto this and look at your home and see if somebody's attached a lien to
Sure
it?
can. Yeah, you can even do that now because we've got the newer records online. You could even do that now.
What do you go to do that? What?
The Superior Court Clerks Authority's website.
Carrie got that on
Well, she has a link to that from your
Right.
page, and we have a link to her page on our site.
Right, yeah.
It'd be just like going into, like the assessors or the tax commissioners looking things up on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go in, but these old records, I've always been worried about them because they're, like I said, they're handwritten. I mean, that's history. Plus, that's our property records. So,
So I'm gonna assume since you've got a number, you've discussed with the vendor what it would cost to get it done.
right, I had them to come up and to give me a quote.
And that's a quote, you said 50,000, 750?
50,000, was it 270? 750.
What you said, yeah.
Where were they from and what was their time frame on completion of the project?
That was
It will be within the year, because it's the contract would be for a year, but they would more than likely have that done, they said, within the year. The company is CoFile. They're my real estate vendor that I use now. And they are certified by the Georgia Superior Court Clerks Authority. Yeah, if you're not certified by them, they won't allow a vendor to do that. And they are my real estate vendor now.
So a person viewing and copying these records, there's something to prevent scam artists from going in there and looking like you have a lien on your deed, or is there any kind of protection like that for people?
Well, these are just strictly they're just imaging our old deeds, these old books.
I'm just wondering if they could.
So as far as protection, we don't have that. That costs a lot of money. There's 1 or 2 counties, I think, that have that protection. And it would notify the property owner if something is recorded in their name. It's a very, very expensive program. And I think 2 of the larger counties probably have that. But we don't now, yeah, because I'm sorry. But it does notify the property owner. But like I said, that's a very expensive program.
Okay, any more questions? Everybody fine with it?
That is a legitimate out of the ARP.
Yes.
RP.
Well, we're at 100%, so
Yep.
As long as we don't spend over 10 million, we're good.
Thank you,
Got
Kathy.
three.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, let's move down to 6B. Upgrade of Microsoft Dynamics SL Financial Software and Administrative Building. Dawn, I'll let you talk.
So another expense that we have used, splossed in the past, or the general fund to budget for, because we cut payroll checks and we cut checks that have helped the whole mitigate splost in many, many different ways over the period of time. It actually makes this qualify as well, and it's our software that we operate in our office. We have got to do it regardless. They'll stop managing it after a certain period of time. So it's either that or start looking for a new company. When I first came, I wasn't a fan of this software, and I'm still not a great fan, but it is Microsoft, which means that it usually will interface with almost everything. It's not always the easiest transition, but it's a lot easier than some that are not Microsoft friendly. So we have, like I said, we have to pay for this one way or the other, and it does qualify under ARPA. So it's just our regular upgrade. We do it about every 5 to 7 years. And I'd like for us to do it every 2 to 3 years, but we push that off because it's almost to the point of a conversion. When you do it, you have to go through and balance everything. We have 2 sets of books. We have 2 computers, and it's a real pain, but it's something we have to do and to maintain it. And I would recommend just maintaining Microsoft Dynamics that we've been using for, I don't know, it's longer than I've been here. Almost
The bottom
20
number,
years.
what you bought, the bottom number on it?
15,910.
That is
That
it?
sounds right,
There's
yeah.
nothing. And then we pay, do we not pay a monthly?
Well, we do,
Yeah,
but that's
yeah.
built into our general fund.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, contract labor, or,
Yeah.
maintenance.
That's based on use of these hours. Total
Yes,
hours.
yeah, all
If
that
you-
is, that, and
if
we
you
may or
didn't-
may
if-
not
yeah.
use all of it. Sometimes we might go exceed it, but I doubt it. They're usually pretty liberal with, and we do a lot of work there, and I say we. Poor Rebecca back there does a lot of the auditing of looking at the 2 reports to make sure everything balances out and compares out, and that they don't leave out a module or something. Sometimes that happens. We have to go back and reopen the case. But overall, these people are, pretty professional, and they do it right the first time, so.
Everybody fine with that?
Yes.
Okay, put that on the consent agenda. All right. Jamie, you want to come up and give us a report here on the courthouse? How we doing on it? Absolutely. Jamie Blevins.
All right, so we've got some progress this month, which is good, right? So we got all contracts out, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing were all issued. We've received the electrical and plumbing back, and Ted signed off on those, so those are all fully executed now. We have received the submittals for the mechanical scope of work. We reviewed the air distribution and returned those, revised and resubmit. They had some model numbers that didn't match what was specified, so we kicked that back for clarification there. And on the actual units, they had some model numbers that were different, but the specifications matched up. So I've asked Reeves to get us some clarification on if the manufacturers just changed model numbers since the drawings were issued. So I'm waiting to hear back on that. We did get some information today that the mini splits, so the Mitsubishi mini splits that we've talked about several times, are an extremely long lead time right now. But given the way we're phasing the project, I'm not concerned about that. If they don't show up when we need to set everything else, we'll just run the line sets and put those in at the appropriate time. So the train units appear to be tracking okay, so we're not worried about that. We're still tracking a August 1st construction start date unless we get some bad news on the equipment. So that's what we're looking at. We have today received the electrical submittals, so we'll get those processed and returned in the next week or so, and we'll be able to advise you guys if there's any issues there. So kind of where we're at.
Okay, any questions?
Sounds good.
And this supply thing is,
Surely.
That's better than too fast and not sure, so.
Yeah, that's right. Appreciate your
Thanks, guys.
report.
Thank you, Jamie.
Okay, Town Creek Trail update by our Scenic Dade Development Company.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening.
Is this is me? Okay, great. So I've got a slide deck here. Jameson Griffin with Scenic Dade Development Company, trying to give you guys an update on the status of our creek walk. We have 2 major phases, and within each phase, we have different sections. So phase 1, I'll tell you about in just a minute, but what I'm here to do is really just give you an update, tell you that we're about to break ground, tell you what the budget is, explain some of the COVID issues and inflation issues that have been a part of this project of the last 12 to 18 months, the funds we've raised to date, and to ask you guys to consider supporting the project financially if you're willing to do that. So to give you a little bit of the scope of the project, this is part of a grant that we got from Lyndhurst. Yeah, it's behind you, Ted. And that grant talked about what concepts we could do in Dade County to make Dade County beautiful again, or yeah, to make Dade County great. Sorry. So one of these was a Cloudline connection trail. And so in that is 2 major phases. One phase is the city center, and the second phase is from the city center to Sittons Gulch. Within that first phase of the city center, what we're talking about is connecting from the railroad track to the interstate. So just want to give you, it is a bigger project, but right now we're just talking about phase 1, and within phase 1, we're just talking about one section, which is section 2. These are some of the sponsors of this project. Lyndhurst, Riverview Foundation in Chattanooga, the Community Foundation of Greater Chattanooga, Limestone Valley, Georgia and Alabama Land Trust have been a part of it, as well as the city and the Carl Vinson Institute from the University of Georgia. So these are documents that have been signed by the city. You can keep going. The board signed off on this. You guys signed off on this about a year and a half ago, as well as the Citizens Bank. Here's some renderings of what it would look like along behind the courthouse and behind Citizens Bank. You also see, yep, that's good. Yeah, you're fine. No, you're fine. You're fine. You can go, I'll talk fast. So yeah, just some renderings there. That was Highway 11 on the left, and then behind the courthouse on the right. Jenkins Park was phase 1, section 1. So is that clear? That's that first phase in the city center, and then section 1 being Jenkins Park, connecting it to Highway 11. I don't know if y'all came down to the July 4th, but there was massive people and using the trail that we have built between Highway 11 and Jenkins Park, connecting it to the existing sidewalk there. Here's some pictures of some people using it. The girls on the right are pretty stinking gorgeous, if you ask me. Those are my daughters. We were doing some planting that day. So yeah, as far as allocations for this first section, came in at about $115,000 that we raised from Lyndhurst Foundation, again, the Community Foundation of Greater Chattanooga, Riverview Foundation, the City of Trenton contributed, as well as some local businesses and individuals in the community. So we raised for that project right at $115,000. So the section that we're talking about tonight is the section behind the courthouse and behind Citizens Bank. The current plan is to break ground around July 15th. I would just say mid to late July. Go to the next one. These are engineering plans. I think you guys have these. I know they're in the slide deck that we sent. I'm happy to send more of these. Ted's been in these conversations with our engineers from CTI. These are the same engineers that are working in Catoosa County with their Riverwalk. They're working in Walker County with some of their creek restoration. So They're used all the time, all over the place. Jeremy McDowell is who we're using for the contractor for this. He just finished a project up at Lookout Mountain Town Hall. I don't know if you've been in the Fairland community, but they've just built pretty massive construction there with their town hall. He's also currently working at Good Shepherd Church. He is a Dade County resident, and his company is actually in Dade County as well. Our original budget for this project was $240,000. That was back in May and April. And I think that everybody knows that prices have continued to go up since then. Our new budget as of a week and a half ago is $281,000. That's again, just gas prices, inflation, and yeah, the price of pipe is just incredible. So to date, we've raised $261,000 for this project. People that have contributed would be on that next slide. Jeremy McDowell, actually the contractor, is giving personally to this project. Again, the Community Foundation of Greater Chattanooga, Riverview Foundation, Lyndhurst, and Limestone Valley are contributing. So the bottom line is we have a shortfall right now of $20,000. Love for you guys to consider supporting that for us, and just would welcome any questions that you might have about the project, and yeah, what our current plans are, and why we're doing this.
Well, I guess it was us when we talked.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I told you,
Yeah,
I
good to
thought
talk to you.
It's about 3 or 4 weeks late. On our
Right.
on our
Well,
budget.
3 weeks ago, the budget was very different on our end, yeah.
I was thinking you said it at the last meeting, you know, if we get the sand donated and all that,
That's a
you
huge
would
help.
come up about 10,000 shy.
Yeah, that would be a
Instead of
huge help.
20, yeah.
That's right.
If
Yes,
if the
sir.
sand's acceptable, which Stephen hadn't got over yet, you know, that, I can, those people are really good, they help a lot, you know, those, over that sand plant or rock deal over in Coal City, and I know we can get it donated, so that'd be that much, you know, towards.
That'd be amazing. Yeah, I didn't include it because I just didn't know if we had gotten anything.
The only thing that would hold it
solidified.
back is if y'all if you didn't like the sand, but in a flower, I mean, in a garden like that, sand.
Yeah,
What you
I'm not
looking
picky. Steven's the sand man.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, I'm here all night, Don. It's always good to have Don around because he'll laugh at even my jokes.
Sandman,
It's
you
great.
know. Sandman.
Yeah.
Now, we could not make a charitable contribution to them. I mean, so we have to,
Have a contract,
come up with something.
have to be some type of a,
Right.
Yeah, or one thought that I had, I'm just asking, I don't know, but if y'all already have an agreement with Limestone Valley, since they're contributing to this as well, would it be possible to give them money to then give to this project?
the reason, the deal with Limestone Valley is for Stephen. I mean, it's part of a contract deal with them, with him for his labor, his, you know,
Yeah.
part of his salary that, you know, that's where Limestone Valley comes in. So I don't know
think he
that
wants us to take that away from him.
that's what I was gonna ask, if he wants to volunteer, maybe 10 of that.
Now, I wasn't trying to take any money that's already designated to
Yeah,
him.
I
was just
know, but I
saying
just-
if the commission decides to give to this project,
Yeah.
if that was a legitimate pass-through,
Mhm.
you know, the city gave to Scenic Dade, we're a 501c3, so, and we did draw up a contract for that as well.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's something we can talk about.
sure, yeah, I just, again, I want
See
to,
what-
main thing is to update, yeah, and 3 weeks too late, 3 weeks ago, the numbers looked very, very different, so it was,
Yeah.
I'm just curious on your phase one, how long was that? You know about how many feet y'all put in there?
I'd have to look on the entire phase,
No, just the phase one from,
phase 1, section 1, or phase 1, section 2? Or phase 1, section 1, 2, and 3. So it's section 1. is
what you've
Jenkins
got done
Park.
right now. I think, if I'm
From
reading
end,
this,
from end to end, from
from
start to
end to end, what
beginning.
you've got done now, you've spent 115,000, how long is that?
Right.
450 linear feet.
100,
450 linear feet.
yeah.
Any more questions?
If I could just add though, part of the expenses for
for the first part of that phase also included the surveying and the engineering plans for the entire urban section. So part of that, the money that was spent on that also did the surveys and the engineering plans for the Citizens Bank, the courthouse, and the school board properties.
So those are the ones that say due diligence?
That's right, that's the due diligence component. Yes, sir.
And the city owns
Jenkins
Park, and then behind Citizens, who owns,
We do.
that's what I thought, okay.
The city has agreed in that first document that I showed, it shows their ownership of this project going forward past us. Basically, Scenic Dade has gone out to get the money and to ascertain the engineer plans, the due diligence, construction, and then we're saying, hey, here it is to the city and the community for you guys to take care of it and allow the community to enjoy it going forward. As Catoosa County is doing right now, Walker County is doing. I was talking to the president of Lyndhurst today, and he was mentioning that Catoosa County just got over $1 million grant from the state, and then another $750,000 grant for additional progress in Catoosa County. And he was just making the point, progress begets progress. People start hearing about it. They realize that you can get stuff done in your community, and they want to be a part of wins, right? So he said, you need to tell the commission that people take notice of communities that they get stuff like this done and are willing to give because they want to see it continue.
Those grants you're talking about, though, you're talking about trail grants for the DNR? What is he talking about on the DNR?
Yeah, they were trail grants.
That's what I was thinking. There's some money out there for that. I mean,
That's right.
Quite a bit of money, yeah.
Right, and to be able to say that we have something that's been a work in progress and that we have, and the fact that ours is connected to the Carl Institute concept drawings that you see behind you and that it's a multi-phased approach. We've completed phase 1, help us complete phase 2. It would be, I think that we would have a great contention for that.
And so you're saying that once it's placed, like what's there now, the city's responsible to keeping it up?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you,
security and maintenance.
And so did we sign off on something like that?
No, the city has agreed.
All we signed off was to give them permission to have the property.
Right, to put it on.
Behind the courthouse.
The easement.
The easement for that.
But then they're going across to Citizens Bank and we own that property too, so that, no?
I'll be on Citizens.
Just our property line.
Everybody's
Citizens
given
on down,
easement.
they contributed.
Yeah,
Okay.
so the city gave an easement for Jenkins Park.
Okay.
Citizens Bank gave an easement for their ownership. The county gave an easement. And the school board has given permission. So as far as maintenance and security, the city has come in and said, hey, we will make, we're already doing it. We're already being the security force of this area anyways.
Okay.
And we are gonna be required, just like Kathy's here tonight, we are gonna be required to put cameras on our court facility because of that trail too, so there is some cost that we're.
Concerns from the judges and from security, I told you about that in that meeting the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And possibly they even had mentioned some bulletproof glass in the back there, but cameras right now probably is all we're gonna
Yeah,
do.
when we talk about stuff like that, what we say is we're trying to make it more beautiful so that people can't be back there hiding. We want to clean up the creek and make it more accessible so that the good people want to be there, not the bad people want to be there. Right now, you could probably get back there and hide pretty quickly and easily and do something really bad.
What they were looking at, because we talked about it a couple of times, is in normal hours, daylight hours when they're having court. Now, if you've seen somebody that's down there, you could go down there and say, look, what's going on, because you're down with, it gives them, that access to sit in the bench and kind of watch. And so it is a concern if you think about it, because there is, but it's going to be nice, I think it's a good thing, but you got to look at everything. And,
Yeah.
And we got to look at their security.
Sure.
Too, so.
Yeah, we've also talked to some different ministries and service organizations that want to help be a part of creek restoration and cleanup, so it really looks beautiful back there.
Yeah.
And also, you know, as everybody knows, there's some erosion issues that we're trying to fix in this project that are currently deteriorating the creek's ecosystem. So that's a big part of it as well.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, good report.
Oh, thank you.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, let us talk.
Worked hard on it. Thank you very
All right.
much.
All right. Okay, move down to number 9, the 2022 millage rate schedule. Don, I'll let you go over that. We haven't posted it yet, right?
No, not yet.
Okay, after this.
So, we finished the budget before July 1st, which is great, and now we are on to the millage rate process. We've completed the 45-day process for the Board of Assessment notices. That finished up last week around June 27th or so. I believe they had a little over 120-something. She settled several, maybe 60 are going to the Board of Equalization, and that process hasn't started. But overall, Paula Duvall believes that's about 2%. So, you know, that's not going to really affect the digest overall. If something big were to come up, they would alert us and let us know that maybe we need to pause, but I doubt that it would take something very, very large, and we don't see that. So the next process has already begun, and that is Angie Galloway, our tax commissioner, brought consolidation sheets. I worked on those yesterday, and in the process of going through that, I noticed personal property had dropped. Do you remember what that was, Ted? It was a lot.
That's quite a bit. It was over
almost
half.
13 million.
Yeah, it was a lot.
And we were like,
Yeah.
I mean, anything that drops 13 million in Dade County, that's too much. So it popped out on well, I noticed it when we were going through consolidation sheets, and then sure enough, it validated in the PT 32.1, which is how to compute your millage rate, rollback rate. Anyway, so I took that back to Paula and to Angie yesterday evening. They have revised the consolidation sheets. They went in and found, 7 to 9 different items. I don't know that they were really huge, but it did affect the numbers. I have not run the new sheets. She just brought those to me this afternoon, so I'll do that tomorrow morning, but I don't really foresee a major issue there. I'm just letting you know all that.
Well, I don't think it would affect it negatively.
No, it won't.
Positive, it will be yeah.
So, we are looking still at 8, we said all along, we're gonna try to keep the millage rate the same. We didn't want to raise the millage rate. I've heard that consistently from the commissioners. So it was 8% in 2021 and maintaining 8% in 2022. Actually will reduce the city portion of the millage rate. We have 2 millage rates, remember. We have that's the city residents, the county residents, or the county land, or whatever you want to call it, inside the city. The city residents pay county taxes too, right, city resident?
We do.
Yeah, all right. So that portion actually goes down just a hair. It fell back just a little bit. So that's actually a decrease overall. And I won't have the official number. I hate to even give you a number tonight, but we had calculated last year the total millage rate combined was 15.094, and yesterday when I calculated it was 15.0402. It goes out 4 places this year, which I'm not a fan of. But anyway, so another thing that went up was the lost. The lost ratio helped. More sales tax we collect, the less property taxes that we need. So that helped, and the insurance premium tax also increased. So again, as those 2 ratios increase, it pushes the other down. So what I'm getting at is there is sufficient growth in the digest, right at 10% growth, which is awesome. I mean, that's very rare to see that kind of growth in 1 year. And that actually pays almost at 100% what we needed in the budget. So that's maintaining the millage rate at 8%, and then the incorporated rate would go down just a hair. And like I said, tomorrow I'll try to have you some firm numbers. And then we need to start advertising. Because we will collect more than we did last year, we have to advertise the 3 public hearings. I think the school board initially was not going to do that, but I'm hearing now that they are going to do that this evening. So they'll also be doing the 3 public hearings. I'll be providing that to the paper. They'll have the first one in the newspaper next week for a meeting that will occur on July 21st at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. in this room, and then again on July 28th at 6 p.m. And then at 6:30 we'll have our a special call meeting for you to consider adoption of the millage rate. And also the millage rate for the school board, I think they're shooting for August 2nd, I think, which is a Tuesday night, but it could be August the 4th. That's our regular meeting night, so I don't know if legally they could have theirs at 5:30, but we're going to find out. And if they can, then that would be great that we could.
That's on
that's the first Monday, first Tuesday and first Thursday of August. Yeah, they're about a week behind us.
Because normally, it wasn't, well, last year we didn't hit it on, usually with the same,
Right.
it's just.
We
worked out
try.
just right.
We try to do it, have a meeting at 6 and then they come over at 6:30. And that may still happen. I don't know that that's going to happen this year, but we're trying. So I'm working with the school board on that one. So, is everybody good with that?
Any questions?
Okay.
Yeah.
Good job.
All right, any questions on that? And that'll be posted today or tomorrow.
I'm going to try to get it published tomorrow afternoon.
Where people can see what.
Then it'll definitely be in the paper and online for sure
yeah.
by Wednesday.
Yeah, okay.
But maybe as soon as tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, all right. Okay, I appreciate it. I know there's been a lot of work put into this year, that's for sure. Let's move down to number 10. This is Resolution R-4022. We've got 3 different resolutions here, and I know there's some questions on these, and I'll start with Mr. Hartline on that around the table. This is on the approval of the assignment, consumption, and release agreement with GFA and the Dade Water and Sewer Authority. We'll just go around the table.
I'm not good with taking over assuming their loan. They agreed to the deal then. There's only one water board member left that agreed to it. I was not on this board at the time that y'all decided to purchase the property, so at this point, I'm not good. There's no new information given to us whether we can or cannot build this reservoir. I don't think we can afford to build a swimming hole for the people of the county to swim in at the cost that it's gonna take. So I'm not for assuming their mortgage.
Okay. Mr. Marlowry?
The reason I asked about the due diligence, I know what due diligence is, but I wanted, for just a small town creek trail, they spent $20,000, so that to me, is that about right? But if I seen it right, on just to build a trail by the creek. I personally don't feel like we've done our due diligence to take over this long. We've had some good engineering studies, but then we had one from the water company was just nearly opposite. I talked to a lot of other people that, when we were down in Savannah, I talked to a lot of the hydrologists down there. Of course, their company's doing the work. Got my best information actually, and I hope you don't care for me using his name, was Shannon Whitfield. Told him what we were going through, looking at. Nearly everyone's first opinion is the first thing we should have done was had a hydrological study done where we core drill, and we know what's in the bottom of that river or that under the dirt. Just there's a lot of considerations when you start adding 45 acres of water on a piece of property that big. I didn't dream this up. I've been talking to engineers all over the state and some even in Tennessee, because my wife retired from the Department of the Environment, and so I had resources there too. And you say, well, that's Tennessee, this is Georgia, but a lot of this falls under federal. And so some of them are alike. But without that study, we really don't know how deep that lake can be. Therefore, we wouldn't know how long the supply would be. We don't know if we've got caves or limestone or certain kind of silt under there that would prevent us, without a whole lot of money. Anything can be fixed if you got enough money to throw at it, I guess. But the first engineering study we had said the wetlands were good. The second one we got from the water company said the wetlands are there, you'll have to do something with them. And if you go and look at Georgia wetlands, what you need to know on Google, and when me and Billy were driving by there, we were actually looking at roads, but Billy showed me the tape out in the north end of the field. I couldn't see the center or the south end of it. But there's a lot of red tape stretched out through those fields that you could see from the road that they were declaring as wetlands. Now, wetlands can be mitigated, they can be removed. But the thing about it is, from everything that I've read, and you'll read it in this if you go to it, if you eliminate an acre, you gotta build another wetland somewhere in the same watershed to the same size. And from what I've been told by engineers, that's a astronomical piece of work. $1 million would just start touching the engineering part. Because let's say there's 2 acres that are deemed wetlands, then we've got to go somewhere in the Lookout Creek watershed, and we've got to build a wetland. And it'll be an enormous cost. So I don't think due diligence was done there, but most reservoirs, they dam a stream or a creek, river, whatever. The one that we're looking at, I don't see what's gonna feed it. Are we gonna try for a permit to keep it at full pool?
You'd have to keep it full.
Yeah, to keep it full, cause there's a little spring on it, but
That won't do it.
what I've read about Karen, well, I shouldn't say that, Karen, but my sister is part of Lake Hills, the big lake at Lake Hills. They have a big, huge spring that feeds that lake. But this time of year, it'll drop 2 or 3 feet. It don't go dry, but it'll drop 2 or 3 feet, and it's only probably I'm guessing a 10-acre lake, maybe that big. But that was gonna be another consideration that I don't think we have done our due diligence on to see if this is what we really need to do. We know that there's a cave, Sitting Cave is 200 yards away from where that lake's at. Another reason that the hydraulic study should really be done. The last concern that I found out about, and I think this might be what's bothering the water board, and I haven't talked to the water board. Not a board member, employee or manager or whatever. I haven't talked to any of them. I got this from other sources and from engineers that know about this kind of stuff. There's 2 issues when we build it. If we build a berm, a small earth dam, and I think we've talked about maybe no more than 6 feet.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So if you build that 6-foot dam all along Lookout Creek, when the creek gets up, where that water used to flow in the field that we're wanting to talk about purchasing, that water now's got to be pushed over toward Lookout Mountain, toward the east side of Lookout Mountain. So therefore, we might face litigation as far as pushing water onto somebody else. Now, the real kicker here is, even if that's okay, then we need to do engineering study to find out if all that water that we backed up over onto that other property, when it gets to the north end of that dam, if you look at the creek's making a turn right there. and it's straightening back out, going down toward the old mill dam and toward 136 in the water intake. If that water just backs up so far, but it gets higher, from what these engineers have told me, you create more speed in the water, more weight. And by do that, you increase the potential of a dam being washed away. And it's not just as we know, dealing with Lookout Lake Dam, it's not just a loss of life on this one. It wouldn't be. Our water company intake is not far down, which was one of the good points about where we was wanting to put the reservoir. But if you have a catastrophic release of that dam, the amount of dirt and sedimentation that would come from our dam could actually stop up our water intake from Lookout Creek. I don't know how damaging that would be or how long it would take to fix, but there'd be thousands of people out of water during that time. And it's not just Dade County, a lot on Walker get their water, some in Alabama, I think even, but I'd like to see us delay this another 30 days and maybe we'll get y'all to look at some of these concerns that I brought up. And
That's fine.
that's just my recommendation.
Melissa?
Well, I have really been on the fence myself. I've talked to a lot of people in my district. I've had people stop and talk about it. I think of it a little differently than that. I feel like it is a piece of property that is definitely an investment to the county because we had a grant pay the 25, and Dawn could correct me if I'm wrong, the 25,000. Then there was a GFA grant, is that correct? Yeah, so they've already paid so much on it already. We've paid our portion, correct? So I don't feel like there necessarily would have to, at this moment in time, be a reservoir. It could be cleaned up. I know there's a small little section of the creek where the kids love to go swim and play. If the county was involved in a little bit, it might be better kept. There could be some trails through there made, and I think anything like that is a positive for the county. And if there was a time, and it may not be in my lifetime, maybe not my kids, but that could be a option in the future if we were to ever need it. I don't feel like it's something that we've got to do right this minute and get it done, but it is a piece of property that we've already paid our portion. They've paid up to a certain amount, and we're just taking that debt and paying it. That could be turned into something positive. So I kind of see it a little bit different. So I've been really struggling with it. I truly have been struggling.
And I think we've paid 100 with that grant. They've paid 83.
I think it's a little over 80.
So we're talking about 317,000.
County 75, we paid
Plus
county
the
money.
interest.
Yeah, well, we're down, the interest rate is extremely low, correct?
It is.
Yeah.
0.6.
It's 0.21. The Fed just raised rates 0.75, so the longer we wait there, I mean,
Right.
it's only gonna go up, but anyway, it was 0.05, now it's 0.21, I think.
And where,
0 point.
and where would the funds come?
0.21.
21, that's right. 0 point.
0 point.
Yeah, not 2 point, 0.21.
Zero, yes. And where would those funds come from to cover that?
The GFA?
Well, to cover,
Oh, I'm sorry, well, we have it in the,
Cover the 317.
we have it budgeted, I mean, right now in the,
And you
general
said the
fund.
payment was what, a little over $1,000, is that what it was gonna be, something?
Yeah.
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
If we
see.
take it over here.
Let's see. It's $1,412.22 per
A
month.
month, yeah.
So it's about 17,000 a year.
okay, 17,000 a year, okay.
So
For how many more years?
It's 240 months, so it's a long.
Yeah, if you carried it on out, yeah, it would be a long time.
And what would happen if we did not, what would happen if we did not consume it? What would happen to our portion of the money?
if we sold it, we'd get it back.
So, yeah, if we don't assume the mortgage, I think the water authority, they want to be done, I think. And so I think they would probably, and I don't mean to speak for them, but I think that they would request that we sell them or convey our interest and let them do with it what they want to then. But they don't want to be a part of the,
So they don't want to be a part of ours, but then they want ours to do whatever
right.
they want.
In order to, there, in my opinion, for there to be a realistic possibility of selling the property, you would have to, both sides.
Both of you'd have to, yeah, because it's jointly owned, yeah.
Okay, that would make me feel better. Like if we were to say, okay, we're not consuming it, then they have to sell it, then whatever they get, we have to do the 80-20%, right?
Correct.
Okay. It wouldn't be just give them our portion and then.
Right, it would be, yeah, we would be entitled to 80-20.
But if we assumed it and kept it a year, decided, it's not feasible, and we sold it, we'd be sole owners of it.
That's correct.
And we would be making money from it because they've already paid, what was it, 83,000,
That's correct.
yeah.
Well, first of all, I wish there was a member of the water board, the water authority here tonight. And they may not have known, obviously, they don't know we're talking about this. I think there's been a lot of letdown over all of it. We started out, they were involved in it, they agreed to the terms of it. All of a sudden, I want to clear up something that they did say, and there's people out there telling them it can't be built. And they never said it couldn't be. Nobody's ever said that the reservoir couldn't be built. I would like to see, and I know I differ from Philip on this, and I said it in the very beginning, I'd love to see some recreation in Dade County for people to go to. They go to Nickajack Lake, they go to Chickamauga Lake, they go to Weiss Lake, they go to all, and it would be a little different. It wouldn't be for ski boats and that kind of thing, but we've got the second or third most visited state park right above it that has nothing but a waterfall. That may bring some of that off our side. That's a maybe. Everything we're talking about here tonight is maybes, what could happen, what did. If I understand what Robin just said, they would be happy if we decided to sell it, that we give it back to them so they could sell it. So, no, I don't think that should ever happen. They've simply said, what they said in this meeting, we don't have time, we don't have manpower, and we don't have the money. Nobody ever said it would be cheap. I pleaded with them that night when we talked about this thing to look at the future of Dade County and not today. That creek, if you've been by it in the last few days, you're seeing sticks and stones in the bottom of it that you didn't see 2 months ago in this drought that we're having. And I don't think we will be to the point of Lake Mead and Lake Powell out in the western part of our country. But Lake Mead is at the lowest point it's ever been, and they're gonna soon stop generating electricity for 40 million people and water for 40 million people. Now, I don't know if they could have saw that coming since 1983 when it was at its peak or not. But what we've got to start doing is we've got to start saying, there's a future to Dade County, and we got to be part of that future. And obviously, it's not wanted to be a reservoir anymore. It would simply be a lake, and it may be, like you say, if we did it from this point on for a year and then sold it, I don't think we're going to be any worse off. If that has to be what's done with it. But I just want to go on record saying we've got to have some people in this county that's going to have to look at the future and what Dade County is going to need in the future. And water will never be any less important than it is right now. But if we look at most of the part of this country right now, it's getting more and more important to people. And so I don't know if that answered a question or not. I wish they had been here, so maybe they could have been asked questions.
Well, your opinion, that's what we're looking for.
Because
Everybody's got an opinion.
I
That's
have
what we're-
told one of their board members, nobody's looking at the water company. It all comes to us. There was some discussion before, when we talked about this. There's nothing in documentation, I don't think, Robin, and I don't even know that our attorney, but we talked about if a certain parcel of property or a thing on Lookout Mountain sold that was owned by the water company, that money would go toward this reservoir. That thing has sold, and there was no mention of putting it toward the reservoir. What they're doing with the money, I don't know. I'm trying not to be mean and ugly, but since they did this, we did this $500,000 loan, they have made another $3.7 million loan through GFA. It's not a secret, it's public record. And they're putting in new meters throughout the county. Everybody will get a new water meter, and along with some other things, I suppose. So they're looking at the future on that, of being better stewards of collecting their money from the ratepayers, getting the radio frequency read meters. And everybody's gonna get one. Whether you want to, you can opt out, but they're gonna charge you $30 a month to read your meter. So they got all that stuff. You received a letter in your, and I'm just a little put off by the fact that they're not here and they dropped the ball on this, but we're gonna take all the brunt of it. When it's all said and done, this commission takes every bit of the brunt. But I do want to say this. There have been people, and Melissa asked me we were just sitting here talking before the meeting that I got any calls. I have not got any calls, but I couldn't tell you this. More people have told me, I wish we had that, than have told me, I hope y'all never spend another nickel on it. Because they want something in Dade County. They want somewhere to go besides having to get up, especially with right now, putting gas in the car and finding a place to go to take their kids to go swimming, to go boating, to kayak, canoe, fishing, whatever you want to do. And we've got the perfect place for it. Yeah, there is some due diligence probably needs to be done. We did some of that. We went to Atlanta and talked to those people, and they couldn't believe, first of all, and the people in Chattanooga couldn't believe we got it for the price we got it. Y'all got that piece of property on that creek for that amount of money. So there was a lot of build up, and now there's a lot of let down. But if we do it for a year, or we just table this tonight and go back, I don't want to see us kick this can down the road 5 or 10 years. There's no sense in doing that.
No, we need to make a decision.
One of these days, when I'm long gone and there's something happens in that creek, a derailment of a train car, which just happened 2 or 3 times in our country in the last week. I don't think they got in a water supply, but those kind of things, if we're talking hypothetical, could happen that somebody should have done something. Somebody should have known and should have planned for this. And here we are, thought we were planning for it, and it's gone. So that's my opinion, and it's really all I got to say about it.
Well, and to add to that, that's another part where I'm thinking is, looking to the future, whether it is liable or it's not liable, there could be something done at some point. And whether we have it now or it's in our lifetime, all those things that Lamar's talking about, those are all just logistics that get worked out, so, and I feel the same way. I have 3 kids. It would be great to load them up in the car and head to Trenton and swim in the lake, or even the creek. Even if we can't get it to the lake at my lifetime, if we could even get a creek bed or something, something, some trails, some biking trails or something. I feel like that's a positive. And if we let it go, it's gone. We're not back. We're not back there again. We can't go back in time and go, oh gosh, well, I wish we would have kept that. We had a good deal there, So I'm kind of feeling like I don't want to let it go.
Well, you know, that's, I've had a lot of people talk to me about it, and I've had just, I can't even count how many that's even said they really didn't want it. Most of them are looking at more so for the recreational part of it. They're the millennium people, the young people, people's got families, and a lot of them understand. Well, even the game wardens today, we were over there. They got an issue right there with it. We own that property where the old tables are at, and we met with them over there, Billy and I did, and they were talking about it. And man, you know, that what a great thing it'd be. In fact, he wants to come to one of our meetings and talk to us about it, both of them, about the DNR standpoint of it. How great it'd be to go up through there and open all that up for people to take their kids fishing, canoeing, kayaking, and all. And when you're talking about our lifetime or my lifetime, that's probably what I'd ever see. I mean, I don't know that I'd ever see a reservoir built there, but just for the nature, the natural part of it, of owning that property and building the trails, you know, around it that we're talking about. And I'm not talking about concrete trails or asphalt trails. I'm talking about natural, you know.
Yeah,
And it's
trails.
just the property is that's because there's no doubt in my mind if we put that on the market, there's only two people that said anything other than this. There's been two people that's mentioned they'd like to have it for housing, to build houses over there. Line it up, because there is a lot of land there above
That's
that you
what
could
they
stack
said to
them.
me.
You could actually, and there's no zoning or anything to keep them from it over there, and they're close to the sewer, which is the city's just across the road. So, but I don't think that needs to happen, that property. But that property would bring a lot more than was paid for it today. There is no doubt about it, you know, where it's at. So, you know, that's how I feel about it. But we can table it tonight, get a little more information on it. Yeah, we can.
Can I speak up again? Since
Yep.
I went first, I've had time to listen to y'all talk.
Yeah.
So, I don't mean to be rude, disrespectful. I'm pretty well cut and dry. Everybody knows that that's the way I am. We bought the property December, at the end of December, before I come into office. The comment was made, I said, when are we gonna start this project? The day after we bought it. It was turned over to the water company, then it was their job to take care of this, to get the grants and stuff. It's been in the process for 6 years. There is no tangible information you can lay in front of me to say we can do any of it. Can we mow the grass and have somebody walk and trail? Yes. Do I think we could sell it for right now and get our money back? Yes. Do I think we can do it a year from now? Probably not. Will it come back 10 years later? Probably so. We discussed not giving our employees a 3% raise at the last meeting because of the money. But we're gonna buy a piece of property to let it sit there for the hopes of maybe somebody can go over and walk around it. Next part, you talk about the train derailment. Unless we have that water piped from that reservoir to the treatment plant and the train derails, that does not help us none whatsoever. There's never been a mention that we're gonna pipe the water from the reservoir to the treatment plant. We're gonna let it flow back into the creek. Am I correct?
I thought we was gonna do a pipe.
Okay, so I've
24 inch.
never heard that.
24 inch pipe, and it'd be a pipeline going to it. Yeah.
Next thing, we've just inherited the property at North Dade. Who's gonna keep that up? Then we're gonna have this 60 acres. Who's gonna keep that up? The road department's got 7 people, and Parks and Recreation's got 7 people. Who's gonna keep it up and who's gonna keep it mowed? That's where I'm coming from this. We chose to not give our employees a raise that's making $10 to $15 an hour. Inflation's 8%. We wasn't willing to give them any money to extend this sidewalk down through here, but we're willing to keep this in a hopes and a dream that maybe one day we will, and we've had 6 years to do something with it. I say we don't table it. I say we take a vote on it tonight, let y'all decide, because I know where I stand on it. Let y'all decide now, because we're not gonna have any more information 30 days from now than we had 6 years ago. It's a great idea, but the execution of it was horrible. If we want to think about the future and think and plan ahead for water, we need to go up on that end and start putting pumps and bigger water lines in back to us. I'm not saying get rid of our water company, but we need to tap on the Tennessee American with bigger pipes and pumps. That's how I feel. But I don't think we should put this off another 30 days. I think y'all should decide tonight.
Yeah, I agree.
If you want to, we'll vote. That's fine. Well, let's call a vote. Do it in unfinished business, I guess, right?
New business, yeah.
Yeah, well, new business, yeah, okay.
And there's other water sources. I mean, in 1969, I found out they went through and dug a bunch of test wells to find out where the aquifers were at in this county, and I believe that's when those two at the water company were installed.
And I do know the mitigation on the wetlands, I don't know how much is over there, it'll be anywhere between $1 and $5 million to mitigate just the wetlands if you want to mitigate them. And that come out of Atlanta.
And we know we have one rock quarry down across from where the Dade Animal Hospital is. When I was a kid, we swam in it because it snuck in and swam in it. Because it's a huge one, it flooded the rock quarry. So I mean, I don't know how much water that would put out too, and I understand groundwater is not as easy to clean up maybe as creek water is. But there's a lot of other things to look at, and, I'm not upset at either.
Well, I don't know what the aquifer is, situation here in Dade County. I know Floyd County just drilled a well into some kind of a gosh awful lake. But that depends on where it's at, and the thing about it is, water's water. It goes from the surface to somewhere it comes from the surface.
Yeah, an aquifer, that's just a river replenished from the rain that falls,
It's the same water.
Yeah, same water.
Whether it's a well or where it's a creek. But now, what would we be voting on?
All three of these.
To just leave this with them and let them have it, or the water company?
We'll be voting on these three resolutions right here, R41, R42, and R44.
Two.
Right, Robert?
This- well,
That's all.
40, 41, and 42.
Yep.
So to be clear, that is we're gaining what they owe on the property, correct? In
Right.
those three
Yeah,
different,
we're taking over.
You're assuming their mortgage through JIPA.
yeah, they're mortgaged through, okay.
To about $317,000.
Okay, we'll move down to number 14.
13.
U.S. Department of Transportation Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act of 2021.
13.
I'm sorry. Well, actually, we need to move to, yeah, that's right, I'm sorry.
13, yeah.
13, Resolution R-44-22, the 2021 Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax loss budget allocations. And we discussed this, Robin and myself and Don, just a minute ago, and there is a paragraph. Robin, you want to go into it and tell us what needs to be taken out of it, or?
Yeah, or Don, if you
Well,
will.
there was a paragraph that we removed from the resolution. We just took it out completely. If you refresh your screen, I had used an old resolution where I used to do a budget amendment to our general fund, and it didn't apply to this, so I just removed the entire, that entire whereas, I don't know what it said, I removed it, so I can't remember what it said. But anyway, what this is resolution to establish the 21 SPLOST allocations. We always do this at some point. Sometimes it's before, but many times it's after it has started. The intergovernmental agreement that was passed prior to the 2021 SPLOST being considered and voted on, we list the city of Trenton, it lists the Industrial Development Authority and the Water Authority. So those three entities, if you per se, are in this agreement as stated on that IGA. Now, the others are fluid. I mean, we know from past history, we typically will reallocate a SPLOST 2, maybe 3 times. The third time sometimes being the final time. And we're about to do that on the 2015 SPLOST, not tonight, but here pretty soon. I'd say before October, because we've been after the fire departments to spend their money, and they're getting closer. They're finally getting there. And hopefully by September, October, they will have expensed most of it or allocated most of it so that we cannot exceed 100%. You cannot exceed 100%. And we have one that we have exceeded. So we're going to have to allocate money from one area to another. And the other parts of that is that if you don't complete a project, then it transfers over into the next SPLOST, such as the animal control facility is one of many things, or a couple of things that's on there that has transferred from 3 different SPLOST. And so I have put that back on here. And I've tried to use inflation guards and barriers to look at every number that we could. Again, this is the best guess. It's a budget. based on the future, and it's 6-year budget. So, it's hard enough to do a 12-month budget, but 6 years is difficult. So I think we've covered everything that's listed on the referendum question here. And again, we can change it. We can update it in the future. It's just an initial allocation.
Okay. And that's for, we need to go ahead and, that's just for information.
No,
We need to go ahead and take a vote on it.
because
Yeah.
every July 1st, we need to advertise the official SPLOST statement. So last year, it was all zeros because it was brand new.
Right.
This year, we have 12 months worth of data we need to compare to, but we don't have anything in the column to compare to. If you look at your finance statement, it's all zeros right now because we haven't officially put any numbers in there. You go back to 2015, you'll see those original allocations. Actually, it was a reallocation of the original, but anyway. And that's where we can track these things better. So I don't have anything to publish without an allocation. So by law, we're supposed to do that, after
Okay.
June 30.
Everybody, any questions? We'll put it on the consent agenda.
Are you
Everybody have
saying,
one.
if we agree to this tonight, now you're talking about reallocation, we know that this may not come in the bottom line.
No, that's right.
16 million. But let's say with the road department, for instance, we wanted to change that.
Right.
You can still,
Yeah,
you can change it.
And we have in the past, if we allocate, just like when we did not know we were going to have to build a wall on the side of Sand Mountain.
Right.
We had to have, allocate more, which means you do have to deduct it from somewhere else and then move that up or down.
So it ties you into these that are in the referendum, all these different,
Yes.
but it does not tie these amounts in necessarily.
No, because we don't vote on, the people did not vote on amounts, they just voted on projects. Well, they voted on some projects, a lot of it's just open, These are things that we typically have done, emergency services, fire and rescue, things like the courthouse, the animal control facility, I think the library, IDA, water authority, those things are in there, but again, they're not tied to an amount on the ballot. That's left to y'all to decide as a body.
So even if we do collect 16 million, Public Works may not get 2.4 or.
No, it's up to you, it's up to this
You can
board.
allocate
Law says you
what's
can
needed. Yeah.
cut a project,
Right.
but you still have to adequately fund it.
Correct. That's exactly what it says.
Yep.
All right, everybody fine with it?
Yes.
Okay.
Are the people, the
Put it on the
departments,
consent agenda.
all these people, have
Oh,
you
I mean-
talked to the departments
Oh,
and
yeah.
made sure, like the sheriff and the jail?
And like you said, it is a projection. That's all, it's just, it's educated.
For
projection.
instance,
You can't-
the sheriff, we're looking at 3 cars per year. And then there is a little bit extra there, but it's not a lot, but that's for basically the jail.
Yeah.
And it's for fixing things, big things like,
Roof again, or?
right, capital assets or capital outlay projects.
Okay. Move down to number 15. This is revise the intergovernmental agreement between the county and the city of Trenton for the use and the distribution of proceeds generated by the 2023 Transportation Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax Referendum as T-SPLOST to, okay. Don, I'll let y'all turn that over to you too. You can go ahead.
Okay.
This is something we have to do by.
We'll do about 14.
Yeah, well, I
go back.
figure we'll go back.
Okay.
Okay, we skipped 14, but we'll get it in a minute. Revised intergovernmental agreement between the county and the city. This is the T-SPLOST. We did vote on this last month. The city did look at that. They visited that. The city attorney made some suggestive changes. Rob and I have looked at all of those. We totally agree with 100% of them. One of which was paying for it. Well, this is a general election, so there is no one paying for it. The prior T-SPLOST attempt was a year that we had to pay for that election in order to have that referendum question out there. So this is just added to the general
Correct.
election. So,
Which we're paying for anyway.
Yeah.
Well, the people's paying for it, right, we're just adding.
We're paying
it
for
to-
it, but it's just, we're just adding it to it. We're-
So, so we just eliminated that whole
Yep.
section on that, proposed. And so this is, since it was material, we felt like we needed to bring it back officially and get this
Yeah.
voted on, so.
Okay. Everybody fine with that, they understand?
Yeah, I do, and this might be a dumb question, I don't know, but is there like anything to put that out there, that this is gonna be on there? Like funds to put signs out, or?
Well, we
Or
can't.
let people know what it
Right.
is and what it means?
So, sitting behind you is a representative of the chamber or the Alliance for Dade, and there are different groups in town that can support it.
Okay,
But as a commission as a whole, you can either support or deny these, but we can't really use public funds to pay for the
right,
publicity of it.
okay.
We
Certain things we can do and
Quote
can't
that
do.
again, you quoted it well, I
We
mean.
can educate, we can't.
That's exactly right, he said it perfectly.
You can't twist arms.
You can
That's
educate.
right.
Okay, yeah, well, that's where I was
That's right.
going, because I, knew.
And this
that.
2575, that is that's by law anyway.
That is, it's, right,
Since we have the one city.
yeah, right. If we didn't include the city, it would only be a 0.75% tax. You could do as low as 0.5%, but
Which ends up to be close to
just
a
confusing
penny.
to me, but, yeah.
A penny, right, yeah. And that's done through when you purchase something?
Yeah, like our current sales tax will go from 7
Splosh.
to 8
Just
in
like
Dade County.
Splosh.
So that
Okay.
1% would be just for T-Splosh transportation purposes. We've listed several roads on ours. I mean, like a bunch. I don't think I can get any more roads on that page. So,
Well, there we're not covering, we got 200, what was it, 240 miles, 240 miles, and we're covering 4 or 5 a year.
Yeah, so there needs to be some education there.
It's not on, the penny wouldn't be on gas tax either, would it?
that's correct.
No.
That's a shame. But then it means everybody passing through Dade County and we see a lot of Alabama cars at our grocery stores.
And the lineman school itself.
Lineman school, man,
Yeah.
they fill
Tractor
the
supply.
restrooms up. I mean, it's other people helping us take care of our infrastructure, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody fine? Consent, okay.
Yes.
Go back to the U.S. Department of Transportation Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act of 2021, this is 14.
All right, let's see.
Don, go ahead and,
All right, so, I just want to bring you up to date. The U.S. Department of Transportation they did pass a huge bill last year that I don't think we heard a lot about it, but it was like $1 trillion bill. I mean, it's money that's going to be allocated over the next 5 years. Almost all bills from Washington feed down to, for instance, Federal Transit Authority goes to the Georgia Department of Transportation. Then we apply to Georgia Department of Transportation for whatever, paving roads, public transportation. But this case, they're going to do that, but in addition to that, they're going to have a direct line from Washington straight to Dade County. And I'm not sure about cities, but I know counties. And the first one is actually out there now. It's called a Bipartisan Infrastructure Law. It's the SS4A grant. It's primarily for pedestrian safety. And the application expires in September. The one that's just been released last week is Reconnecting Communities pilot. And believe me, these things they cover a whole lot more than what I'm just talking about. But over the next 5 years, you're going to see these come out about once a quarter. And so we used to hear under the American, I can't remember the plan name. I guess, no, it was before that, the Obama one. Anyway, shovel ready, be shovel ready.
American Reconstruction.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So we, just for instance, like the group that's searching for some funds. You know, you still have to have like the city would benefit from this more, I believe, with sidewalks, because it's SS4A is safe sidewalks for all, I think is what it means. But it covers a lot of other things with, anything with pedestrian. And it includes
Even trails, even bike
bicycle
trails,
paths,
a lot of stuff in there.
walking trails, crosswalks, and it's a lot of money, and they're pushing it. But you gotta, another part of this is you have to have somebody who knows how to apply and dedicated to apply, and part of their salary can be, it will pay, this will pay for it, you know, and I don't have anybody in mind, I'm just telling you. You know, a lot of times we end up hiring people like bigger engineering firms, and they have already hired those people that really study these bills and can get in there and try to find out the money. This is more information than anything. There's nothing to vote on. I just wanted to make you aware that this, along with T-Splosh, for instance, because there's a paving portion coming, okay? We can use you can use local funds, SPLOST funds, sales taxes, as your matching money for these. And it's usually like a 10% match. It's not always a 10% match. It's 10 to 20% is so far what we're seeing on these top grants. That also can include in kind, which is, you know, labor or whatever. So the SPLOST may be, let's say 5 million, but you could make it go a lot further if we can really tap into this in the future. And just want to make you aware of it. I mean,
Yeah,
you can click on those.
There's a lot of money out there, and it's, you know, and if you read it, it's kind of, they're wanting to actually, by us being a smaller county, and also, you know, our poverty is pretty high here. I mean, as far as we're low to moderate or moderate, you know, I mean, that's even going to help us as far as on the money. I mean, Chattooga County is going to be a good prospect for, you know, because of it. It's just good. That's good information.
I mean, we are looking at another big project that we don't really have on our SPLOST or T-SPLOST. We know we've had a problem with trains in this community, and if you don't believe me, ask Ted.
This month has been the worst month, and I've talked about it, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit tonight. But it's been,
and this could be possibly some kind of money that we can use to mitigate that, especially on the north end on Steel Road, and even possibly in the industrial development. I don't know without building some kind of bridge, but I mean.
That's the only answer.
A new one that we found out that's happening and didn't realize it was, Ted may realize it, I did until I got a call, but over on Cemetery Road and Hooker, they're blocking just a few people out, but.
Yeah, all night.
Boats and.
Happened again yesterday.
So.
People's having to sleep in their car.
This reconnecting, this last one here, I forgot what it's called, the RCP grant, Reconnecting Community Pilot, it has a railroad aspect to it. So, and I think there will be a lot more in the future, but just be aware of that.
Okay. Let's move down to 16. This is Resolution R-45-22. This is actually calling for a ballot of referendum to impose 1% transportation special local option sales tax, T-SPLOSH, to be held on November the 8th of 2022. And there again, this is a legality.
Yeah.
Is there any discussion on that? Pretty well self-explanatory.
Yes.
Okay. Put that on the consent agenda. And 17, Lamar, you've got something that you want to say? I think that's Robin or.
We had talked three commission meetings back about adding to our financial policy an amendment for receiving SPLOSH funds, so everybody's doing it the same way. And Robin, we've asked Robin to make sure that our intergovernmental agreements are met. So, just stop the confusion and make sure everybody's following the same process. That's the goal, because we did have a little bit of a confusion project at once, so.
Well, what I can do is try to get something together for the next meeting for y'all to look at. Would that be appropriate?
Also, in that same, when you're putting that together, can you, and it may be already be in there, but languages, what states as an emergency splosh purchase? Like, is there any wordage in there that,
Okay,
like a definition for that?
okay. I don't recall there being anything in,
Just-
but I'll look to see.
Okay. Any more comments? If not, we'll go ahead and we'll adjourn the work session. Take about 5 minutes, get us a drink of water, bathroom, whatever, and we'll start a regular meeting.